Starlight Sunset fans, we're having to work on our generators this morning, so thought I would take you through this. I purchased these Predator 2000 generators about 2 years ago. They were remanufactured, so I got a pretty good deal from Harbor Freight. I was going to use them for my camper if I was ever boondocking, which I haven't yet, so I haven't needed them, so I've never even tried to start them. Whenever I purchased them, they told me that the oil had been drained and all of the fuel had been burned out of it. Well, unfortunately, there's still still fuel in the carburetors. That gummed up after 2 years, and so neither one would start. So I was in a hurry trying to find a kit because I was going on vacation and I was going to need it to run a log splitter. Couldn't find a kit for it, so I found online V-Power equipment. There's your address. vpowerequipment.com. So they had two new carburetors, so I just ordered those. They were I think $65 a piece, brand new, and so I'm just going to replace those. I had two of these. I've already done one to figure out how to get to the carburetor and to replace it. It looks pretty easy whenever you open the cover, but it gets pretty complicated because the gas tank is in the way. So as you can see, I have one that I've already done, and it runs. There's the old carburetor, which I'll rebuild that one in time and have a spare just in case I ever need a quick fix. So what we're going to do is you take these 3 bolts out. This side comes off. Your carburetor will be here. I'll step you through. Then you take these out, and there's another one on the other side to open this part. Then you have to take this rubber piece off. There's a screw right there that holds things together. If you put a screwdriver under this, it just pops off. It's just clipped in. One side of it will pop off. So what we're doing is taking this side off of here. So you have to take these 4 screws off, and then on the exhaust side of it, there's 6 screws that you'll take off, and then this whole piece comes off. After you get the side off of it, you can raise the fuel tank enough to be able to get the carburetor out. As we go along, I'll step you through each part of it. So I've taken these 3 screws out, and then you just pry this open, and there's 3 lips or connectors that fit in here that hold this together. And then here's what we're trying to replace. We're going to try to get this out. The problem is that you take these 2 screws off, and whenever you try to pull it out, this part hits right there. So you have to raise this up enough that it slides under it. So that's the first section. So we took our 6 screws off the back, and this is for the exhaust cover. Remove those. Really, you might be able to just take off one side and not have to pull the whole thing, but I want to make it easy. So I've already taken the screws out of here, out of the handle part. There's also a screw right here, or a bolt right here. It's 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 10 millimeter, and 10 millimeter that you have to remove as well. I've taken the bolts off of the front panel. It just holds this together. And basically I took my screwdriver, popped that open, and as you can see, it's just a little clip that plugs into there. So then you have to take your gas cap off and this piece comes off like so, and then you have this one last screw right here. It's going to take that off, and then I'll remove this cover and show you how it works from there. So now I have the bolts out of the bottom, out of the top. You can see it's coming apart. One sticky point is right here. There's a lip that hangs on, and it just pops off. You can see that lip goes right there into that hole. So after you get that popped off, then what we're going to do is take off these two screws. This will release the carburetor, and then you can use your hand. As you can see, I can pry the gas tank up out of the way. So we'll take that off, pull the breather off. There is a electric wire that runs over here, so you do have to take the back side, just the back cover, off. There's 3 screws across the top of it as well. It just folds down. The handle will pull out a little bit, just enough that you can reach your hand in the other side, because you need it to be able to disconnect that wire. Alright, so as you can see, we pull the carburetor off these two and have our fuel line back here that we have to remove, and then the throttle cable here. So measure this piece from where it's at to the end, so that you know whenever you put it back on that you're got the right length on it. So what we're going to do now is we will take our new one. I'm going to lay it up here beside it, pull the fuel line off of it, get it onto this one quick, then we'll put our throttle cable on, and then put it back together, put all the parts all the way around it back on, and we'll fire it up. So stay tuned for it coming to life. All right, now we have our new carburetor in place. All the hoses going where they're supposed to. Got our throttle cable back tight where it needs to be. Now we just got to put this cover back on, put the back cover, and we'll be starting it up here in just a minute. All right, so we got everything back together. I'll leave the cover off of it just to make sure that there's no leaks anywhere. So turn this to the on position, turn this to the start, make sure that is turned off, and then we'll give it a couple of slow pulls to prime the, and then first pull, cycle some fuel through it. It's got the stabilizer in it. It's running high test fuel, or high octane. So success all the way around. We have both. And this one was the first one that ran also. There's the two carburetors that we received. And again, a shout out to V-Power Equipment for getting these to us in time. And then our next, what we're working with these, we actually have the 5-ton log splitter from Harbor Freight, and we'll show that unboxing and starting up and plugging into these generators to see how they work. The problem that we have is where the logs are piled, we don't have electricity close to it. So, and there you have it. So thanks for joining. If you like this, if it was informative, please hit that like button. If you want to see more, watch later for the log splitter to be set up and you will use it. Hit that subscribe button if you don't mind. And we will see you here shortly.